Iglesia, nuestro servicio de resurrección.
Welcome, Church of God, to our resurrection on Sunday service.
God bless you, church. Welcome to our service of resurrection, and we invite you wherever you're at in this moment that you worship God along with us. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. Él es quien reina con poder. Creado su fama eterna es. Su voz, un eco sin fin. Todos proclaman, no hay nadie como Él. Su luz, radiante más que el sol. Oh, su amor y gracia derramó. En él encuentro sanidad, por siempre reinarás. No hay nadie como Él. Oh, ven a adorar al que resucitó y la luz del mundo que nos rescató. No hay otro nombre igual, no hay otro nombre igual, Cristo nuestro Dios. Oh, y el vencedor que a la diestra está, y ante su trono montes caerán. No hay otro nombre igual, no hay otro nombre igual, Cristo nuestro Dios. Oh, we lift up our eyes, see the King has come. In light of the world, is no other name. There is no other name. Jesus Christ our God. Oh, seated on high, the undefeated one. Mountains bow down as we lift him up. There is no other name. There is no other name. Jesus Christ our God. Oh, ven a adorar y ven a adorar al que resucitó y la luz del mundo que nos rescató. No hay otro nombre igual, no hay otro nombre igual. Cristo nuestro Dios. Oh, y el vencedor que a la diestra está, ante su trono montes caerán. No hay otro nombre igual, no hay otro nombre igual, no hay otro nombre igual, no hay otro nombre igual. Jesús. So we come this morning. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. And nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. Cuán hermoso su nombre es. Cuán hermoso su nombre es. El nombre de Jesús, mire. Cuán hermoso su nombre es. Y nada se iguala a él. Cuán hermoso su nombre es, no hay otro nombre. Cuán hermoso su nombre es, no hay otro nombre. Cuán hermoso su nombre es, no hay otro nombre. La muerte venciste, el velo partiste y tumba vacía ahora está. Los cielos declaran, tu gloria proclama y resucitaste, majestad. Inigualable, incomparable, hoy por siempre reinarás. Y tuyo es el reino, y tuyo es la gloria, y tuyo el poder y autoridad. Poderoso su nombre es, poderoso su nombre es, el nombre de Jesús, mire. Poderoso su nombre es, incomparable es él. Poderoso su nombre es, no hay otro nombre. La muerte venciste, la muerte venciste, el velo partiste, la tumba vacía ahora está. los cielos declaran, tu gloria proclama y resucitaste, majestad. Tú eres inigualable, incomparable, y hoy por siempre reinarás. Tuyo, y tuyo es el reino, y tuyo es la gloria, y tuyo el poder y autoridad. Poderoso su nombre es, poderoso su nombre es. Ven Jesús, mire, poderoso su nombre es, incomparable ser, poderoso su nombre es, no hay otro nombre. Cuán hermoso su nombre es, cuán hermoso su nombre es, el nombre de Jesús, mire. Cuán hermoso su nombre es, y nada se iguala a él. Cuán hermoso su nombre es, no hay otro nombre. Cuán hermoso su nombre es, no hay otro nombre. Cuán hermoso su nombre es, no hay otro nombre. Recordaré aquella cruz donde sangró y murió Jesús, heridas que por mí sufrió, crucificado Salvador. Su cuerpo envuelto en dolor, en el sepulcro reposó, en soledad él se quedó. Jesús me hace el Señor. Alabaré al Señor mi Dios, tu nombre yo proclamaré, eternamente te cantaré, Señor, Señor mi Dios. Pero al tercer amanecer, un gran estruendo se escuchó. ¿Dónde está muerte tu aguijón? Cristo Jesús resucitó. Alabaré al Señor mi Dios, tu nombre yo proclamaré, eternamente te cantaré, Señor. praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise, oh Lord our God. Then on the third at break of dawn, the Son of Heaven rose again. Oh, trampled death, where is your sting? The angels roar for Christ the King. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise, oh Lord our God. Alabaré al Señor mi Dios, tu nombre yo proclamaré eternamente, te cantaré, Señor mi Dios. Alabaré al Señor mi Dios, tu nombre yo proclamaré eternamente, te cantaré, Señor mi Dios, Señor mi Dios, Señor mi Dios, oh Señor mi Dios. Alabaré al Señor mi Dios, tu nombre yo proclamaré eternamente, te cantaré, Señor mi Dios.
Hallelujah. Oh, God is good. Hallelujah. Father God, you are holy, you are good. You are an amazing God. We're giving thanks to you today for allowing us to be here in your house of worship and to celebrate, Father God, that the beautiful communion, God, that they were with you. We are able with you to partake, announcing his resurrection, that we're also part of that atmosphere. And those places where the food and the drink is being prepared, the grape juice is being prepared for that. Those at home can participate in this communion, Father God. We ask that they are restored, that you will give them strength, Heavenly Father, that you will minister to their life through your Holy Spirit. Give them the strength, give them, the strength to move forward in life. Thank you, Lord, in the name of Jesus. Happy Resurrection Day, beloved church. This is the day where we remember, amazingly, that night where the Lord Jesus, with his disciples, they partook in the communion, the Last Supper, the communion, and they were renewed through that. And in the same way as we partake in this communion, we're going to be strengthened by God. About 9:30, about 8 minutes away, we should be all partaking in communion. At 9:30, we should be receiving that bread and that food and together, the drink. And this is the first time in this history of our church here that it's been about 29 years that we've been here, that we're celebrating the communion in this way and not here in the physical church here. It is a little bit hard, but at the same time, we know the unity that we have, the togetherness that we have as a church, that it doesn't matter that perhaps we're not here, here in the church physically, but in one spirit we are united, and we give thanks to God at times when the Apostle Paul was not able to attend a church physically. He would say to them in his letters, I'm with you in spirit. And thanks be to the Lord that in that one spirit we are together. And I know that we're going through a very difficult time in our lives. And through this, participating in the communion, that you're healed. That you're healed from this virus, that you're healed from everything that's surrounding you, that this virus is healed and, taken away, that your body is cleansed, is purified from head to toe. In the name of Jesus, I declare for you deliverance. In the name of Jesus, deliverance of your body, that this morning that you are healed and you can get out of that room when you feel that you are broken down, and you can be free in the mighty name of Jesus. That all those symptoms in your body, all those symptoms in your life will be removed from your body. They'll be cast away in the name of Jesus. When we speak about this ritual it's a central ceremony of worship that is a community inside a Christian church. And many churches do celebrate it every single Sunday in the service of worship as part of it. It was instituted by our Lord Jesus Christ's communion and Jesus Christ of Nazareth when he dined with his disciples before he was arrested, betrayed and arrested. The story of the church remembers that moment as the Last Supper of the Lord with his disciples. And the church understands that that night Jesus Christ gave us a mandate in order to us, a sacrament, that he instituted the Lord's Supper, the communion, ordering his disciples that they will regularly celebrate it in remembrance of him. And through the Lord's Supper, the believer, the communion, the believer is reaffirming the covenant that he or she has with God, that we have with God, the moment that we were baptized in the waters. This covenant, what it does, it unites he or she with Jesus Christ, the whole church with Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ, as we know, died for all humanity. He died for all of us. And this is what we're doing in remembrance that Jesus Christ, that he died for us. And we give thanks to God. Church of God, I invite all of you this moment where you are. Let us pray together right now. Let us pray together for that food so that God may bless you. Blessed is your name, God Almighty, God of the universe. Bless this bread and this drink, Father God, that we have received, for your generosity. And now we present it to you, Heavenly Father. And this will be for us bread of life, Father God. Blessed be your name, Heavenly Father, God of the universe, for this drink, Father God, that we have received, this bread that we received, God. Now we present it to you as a symbol of our expiation at the cross. And we give thanks to you, many thanks to you, Lord God, Jesus Christ. All right, church, if you're already there in your home, and you have prepared your table, you have prepared your food, your bread and your drink, And also, we're going to begin. I always say for many, many years, I've always asked the church to examine yourself, search your heart. If there's any sin or anything that you committed or offense, ask God right now. Communicate with God this moment. And don't say that you are unworthy. Drink it, take it. It's going to be a benefit for you in your life. Let us begin this moment. When I say that we'll all eat the bread, all of us together in unity will eat the bread. And church, I give you an opportunity. That's one taking a little bit longer, so that way, if you are just getting up right now and you just turn, to just streaming now with us, you need to get ready quickly. And I feel it, church. I feel like we're all together. I feel the unity right now in the spirit. I can feel it in my heart right now. Right now, the presence that all of us are together. It's as if we're all together. I feel the Holy Spirit, this one Spirit. We're here. The Bible says, "For I received from the Lord what I also passed on to you. The Lord Jesus, on the night he was betrayed, he took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, 'This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me.'" Please eat the bread. If you're in your home, take your piece of bread and let's eat it together. Blessed Father God, hallelujah. Oh, we give thanks to you, Heavenly Father. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, Church of God, right now, give thanks to God. The Bible says, in the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it in remembrance of me. For whenever you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes." Please, if you're there, let us all drink together the cup. Oh God, hallelujah. Eternal celestial Father, we honor your name and we bless your name. Thank you, God. Bless your beautiful people. Bless every single life in their homes. Bless every single one who is sick. Heal their bodies, heal their lives, minister through your Holy Spirit, God. Your strength that they need. They're together, Father God, as a family that they are blessed in a special way, Heavenly Father. Bring, Heavenly Father, that benevolence upon their life, God. The goodwill, Heavenly Father, that you have upon their lives. Supply for them, God, any need that they have in their lives, and nothing is missing in their homes, that they're all blessed in a special way. Father God, we give thanks to you in the name of Jesus Christ. And you just got, you know, late and you started getting late because of different reasons. I invite you right now, pray quickly and pray and prepare the food, the bread, and prepare the juice, and do not be left out with that desire to partake. So right there, pray to God, and then you got here late. Hey, do it. Still do it. Pray to God. Search your heart as the Lord, here I am, and take the bread and the drink. Let us begin this morning. And we know we're all with high anticipation waiting for the resurrection day. I don't want to use the word tradition, but sadly, there are many things that become very traditional. And it's very sad that the majority of people take this action, this ritual, a sacrament, or this resurrection day as something traditionalistic, and they only take it as a day that we all had to be separated, we had to be holy. And I believe that every single day that we live in our lives, we need to celebrate the day of resurrection of the Lord. And I believe that every single day we need to give thanks to God for what He has done in our lives, because He has given His only begotten Son for us, so that all, will not be lost, will not perish, but have everlasting life. And this is a ritual sacrament that we partake in, and the Lord left it for us to celebrate it in remembrance. And resurrection is something that we should, recognize that Christ has, He resurrected for us. Let's talk about Matthew chapter 28, verse 5. The Bible says that in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit of God this way. But the angel responding said to the woman, do not fear, you, because I know that you're seeking Jesus who has been crucified. In Matthew chapter 28, verse 5, the angel said to the woman, do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. There is a great question, and the question is this: who can measure all the omnipotence of the grace engulfed in this word that I'm going to mention to you? And I want us to be clear so that you can hear us in the time we grow, a little bit distracted at times, even when we are in our homes. And I'm going to ask you the question once again: who can measure all the omnipotence of the word engulfed in this word? The power of the resurrection. The power of resurrection. And the tragedy of the cross. For the woman has finished. And the woman, filled with affection, contemplating, the form that is lifeless of their beloved Lord. Now the tragedy of the cross had passed, and the crucifixion has passed. Now the women were contemplating the lifeless form of the Lord Jesus, and they go to watch and see that his body, his sacred body, is not buried as one of the or the wicked, as a wicked person buried and left ignored. And then that made certain that his body was buried in that place. And early in the morning, on the first day of the week, the woman, the woman with precious spices to embalm the body and to preserve the Christ who is dead. There is a word that I want to, express to you all. In John chapter 2:19, when the Lord called them fools, He says we become fools in forgetting His words, and at times we become very forgetful. We become ignorant in the things that God reveals to us and says to us in our lives. In the book of John, the Lord told them that he his body has been destroyed, and in 3 days it will be lifted up, it will be built up. And the Lord expressed to them the woman, and it may be that his words will remain in us. Our devotion can be transformed and true understanding. If the word of God does not remain in our hearts, then our devotion will transform in zeal, but without understanding. And at times, the supernatural things, what they do to us is that they confuse us and they perturb or disturb the plans of man. And at times, we are very worried about something, and we get a surprise that there's always a solution for our worries. And I'm going to say this again to you. There are moments in our lives where we're so concerned about something, but we always get the surprise that there's always a solution for our anxieties and worries. And these women here in Matthew 28, they wanted to, you know, they were very perplexed, when it came to the tomb and they found that an angel had moved the stone. And I'm going to repeat, there's always a solution for our worries. The worries of these women was who was going to take away the stone, who was going to remove the stone. And an angel, told them that the stone had been removed. I want you to know this, that the stone had not been removed in Jesus' favor. No, never. But it was for the witness of the resurrection. When Jesus Christ resurrected, he did it with a body that was resurrected, a celestial body. And the spiritual blessing does not have any physical limits. And I want to say this again to you, the spiritual dimension doesn't have physical limitations. It was necessary that the witnesses will enter into the tomb to see the truth that Jesus Christ have risen. It was necessary that the stone will be removed. Therefore, in no any other fashion, then the disciples and the witnesses were not going to be able to maintain and say that they would continue to maintain and say that Christ was still dead. And look at the response of the angel to the woman in Matthew 28, verse 5. The angel said to the woman, and I love this word here, do not be afraid, for I know that you're looking for Jesus. This here was a word of encouragement. It was a word where the angel is telling these women, stop being afraid, stop looking for someone who is alive. Wow, what good news, right? And the times we're so worried about things in life, and we believe that God is not there, but God is there. God is alive. He is alive in all the facets and areas and all of our issues and worries of life. And look at the question. The question that the angel asked the woman in Luke 24, verse 5. Look at the why are you looking amongst the dead, he who lives. Look at the, you know, amazing word. How many people? The people are celebrating a Christ that is dead. How many people are celebrating a Christ who is dead? And us Christian, we have the truth in us that the Holy Spirit witnesses to us, testifies to us that Christ is alive and that He is seated at the right hand of the Father and interceding for every single one of us. And the Word of God here says in Luke 24, verse 5, why do you look for the living among the dead? And the angel, what is the response to this question? The response to this question is they were trying to they were looking for a savior that was dead. And now they were looking for a savior that was like the other men, fragile. And they have, powerful, mighty men, but they were fragile. And the totality of their being and then their thoughts and their feelings, and they were focused on a Savior that was dead. And that's where the question comes from the angel in Luke 24:5. And this is a confrontational type of question which confronts them. He says, why do you look for Christ dead when he is not here? He has risen. Why are you looking for the living among the dead? And this is a little bit of the anxiety, the worrisome feeling they had in their life. And then let me tell you something. These days we are having a lot of experiences that we're having, and our hearts is worried and anxious. And a lot of the times we're not feeling, especially during these moments in this pandemic, God is not there. That God is not by our side. But and a lot of people feel reproach because of this. They feel that. They feel badly because of this. Many people are looking for a savior that's dead. And sadly, they live, far off from without hopelessly and far from the promises of God. Ephesians, in those times, far from the citizenship of Israel, in the covenant hopelessly without God in the world. And the angels proclaimed the glorious good news of salvation. In the book of Luke 24:6, the Word of God tells us He is not here, but He has risen. There are two very important parts here that I want to share with you. It's two very important things. The word He is not here. The woman could see. There was something very clearly visible that Jesus was not there lying down, right? He was there. Yes, his body was laid there, in that bed. But he was not there. And they could see, they saw when Jesus' lifeless body was put there on the bed in the tomb. But they had to see that Jesus Christ was not, he was not in the tomb. And they experienced his death. They experienced his burial. And now Jesus Christ was not in the tomb. I want you to hear this. The second point. He has risen. This word is very amazing. Wow. In heaven will witness that he lives in the book of Hebrews chapter 7 verse 8. And scripture witness that he has resurrected. Romans chapter 1 verse 4. Ephesians chapter 1 verse 19 to 20. Jesus Christ had said that he will resurrect. Luke chapter 9 verse 22. Luke chapter 13 verse 32 and 17 verse 25. 31 to 32. Jesus Christ had said that he was going to resurrect. In Romans chapter 1 verse 4, the word of God tells us he was declared. We're talking about Jesus, the Son of God with power, according to the Spirit of holiness by the resurrection amongst the dead. Romans chapter 1 verse 4. I'm going to repeat this again. And who through the Spirit of holiness was declared with power to be the Son of God by his resurrection from the dead, Jesus Christ our Lord. I got to say something very important to you. The angels reminded the woman that Jesus Christ had told them before this happened, that he was going to resurrect. And the followers, they felt confused, because of the prophecy of his death and resurrection in the book of Luke chapter 18, the word of God, verse 33. They did not understand these things. They did not understand these words. They were said to them, and they did not understand what they were being told. We just don't understand these things that God wants to say to us. God is ministering to us in a special way. God is calling us, but we just don't understand. And it's uncovered to us and revealed to us. But even with it being revealed to us, we just don't understand. Jesus Christ said, he spoke about his death and his resurrection. And it was like a crossword, like a puzzle. For them, it was like a guessing game for them. They just didn't understand. They just could not captivate and understand for them to be able to understand the meaning of his death, what he was saying to them before about his death and resurrection. They did not understand his message. And that's why they were disoriented and they were exhausted, because Christ Jesus, he died and they lost the hope. The word uncovered has a significance of something complete within itself. And that is the word uncovered. It has, a feeling of something that is complete within itself. The disciples had no consciousness or awareness about the things that was said by Jesus Christ. And they did not receive and understood his significance. And they were not able to understand it. And the disciples, and this is the issue that many people face in their lives, that the disciple, they were stuck and blind and seeing the suffering. They were blinded. They thought that Jesus Christ was going to free them from, the in captivity or rule under the Roman rule of Israel, and they lost the hope of who was going to free them from captivity or Roman rule. And now they were just attached to just they wanted just the blessings. They only wanted all the blessings, and were guided by that, and that's it. And and a lot of people, they don't, they lose that Christ is going to come for His church. They lose sight of that, and a judgment is going to come upon the earth. That many people lose sight of that. And the thing is that when we don't have value, true value to Scripture, and when they're not accepted exactly for what the Word says, for what it is, what is the result when we don't do that? That we lose sight of things and not understanding the significance of the Word, and not having consciousness of hearing and understanding His Word, what He's saying to us. And a lot of the times, it's very strong word that He used: fools, lacking of understanding, and harden the heart for those to ignore what the prophets has said. And Luke, what a word of exhortation. They didn't understand still that He had come to go to the cross of Calvary and then to resurrect. And that was explained to them. But they just did not understand. The Bible says that the natural man does not perceive the things that are of the Spirit of God, because for them it's craziness. And they cannot understand it because it is in the spiritual sense. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. And Scripture says in Luke 24, verse 29 to 11, when they came back from the tomb, they told all these things to the 11 and to all the others. With all due respect, church, look at this. They have already received the message. They already understood that Christ had risen. They saw the tomb was empty, and they hurriedly run to not stay there, because the angel caused them to go and tell the 11, to go tell the rest of the disciples, to find themselves to share with them the gospel. I want to tell you something that happened when they took the gospel that Christ, has risen. For them, the news they were crazy. It's as if they were saying, these women here are crazy. It didn't make any sense. It was a ridiculous conversation. It was a fantasy. It was something savagely, or it was wild. It didn't make any sense. And in Luke 24, verse 11, the word of God says, but they did not believe the woman, because the word seemed to them like nonsense. They did not believe His word. Do you know how many people think that we're crazy? And when we speak the word of God, that Christ is returning for His church, people call us crazy. People call us ridiculous, because we gather together to worship our Lord Jesus Christ, our God. So many people, they say things against us. They say awful things, horrible things, because we preach the gospel of truth. And there are people that call us crazy people. One of these days, they're going to get a surprise. And all the people that deny that Christ died and He resurrected, one of these days, they will be surprised. But right now, and we're acting like we cannot. See how we are nowadays? How we're acting today? How would it be when the church is raptured? When Jesus Christ takes His church, the crazy, so-called crazy Christians, these fanatics, they're going to be gone. And I am anticipating that day. I can't wait for that day. Hallelujah. And they did not believe. There is a Greek word, descreyeron. And that word in Greek is an hospitou. And this word, which means an imperfect active time, which means that they continued disbelieving, and that is what we call it an imperfect active time, where they continued disbelieving. They continue disbelieving, And there was a word called incredulity. So they were incredulous or disbelieving to the message of these women. They were without confidence and disbelief, not believing what the women were affirming with their words, and they were imprisoned in the spirit of, you know, you know, you're talking about a woman who are not believing, or they were in disbelief and incredulity. They had a spirit. Be careful with that spirit of disbelief. Remove it from your life. Christ resurrected. Christ is alive, and He is coming back for His church. And I'm waiting for Him. I don't know about you. They did not have an excuse. Why didn't they have an excuse? Because Christ has spent many months, speaking to them about the truth about His death and resurrection. And Christ knew that He was going to be, crucified, and He was day by day, hour by hour, summarizing and letting them know, reiterating to them that He was going to die, He was going to resurrect. And Jesus Christ had to tell them, had trust in me because I have overcome the world. Have trust. It doesn't matter what comes my way. Have trust because I have overcome the world. And let's hope that we are not people that we're not in disbelief and believing, the word of God. And Peter felt, he had connected to God, but he failed the Lord when he denied Him 3 times. When Jesus Christ went to the cross, he denied Him. But when he received the message, even though it appeared to be very negative, he's not in the tomb and ran towards there. His thoughts, were thinking and asking themselves, what had they done for Jesus? What has been happening with the Lord? And I love the word in Luke. But getting up, Peter, he ran to the tomb. He ran to the tomb to try to, in verse 12, in Luke 24:12, Peter, however, got up and ran to the tomb. I want to tell you something. Every human being, they go through, wintry moments in their lives, and moments that appears that your life is tumbling down, that death is around you. And let me tell you something. The disciples here, they felt hopeless, that their hope was dead. And there's a lot of, discomfort and distrust in their lives. They lost their trust in Jesus, and sadly so, this happens to many people. The woman the and the disciples, they experienced a traumatic scene. They saw Him, and Jesus Christ, in transforming their lives and discipleship and walking with them, and as they heard His words of wisdom, His words of life. Now Jesus Christ is dead, right, for them. And in the middle of this hopelessness, this desperate, thinking, or this disbelief, and the lack of trust or confidence, they received the best news. In Luke 24, verse 5, in the middle of this, perturbance and anxiety and worries and this chaotic feeling they were feeling, and in the middle of the lack of, trust, they received the best news in Luke 24, verse 5. Why do you look for the living among the dead? Oh, praise the living God. How beautiful is that? Then why are you searching when there is no solution is seen? And it seems like their hope has fallen. And they were on the ground, they were dry, there was a drought in their life, and they felt that everything was dead for them. And suddenly, in the midst of this blend of all these thoughts, and the lack of trust in God, they received the news. Why are you looking for the living among the dead? They received the best news that Christ has risen. And the Lord said it. He said it in the book of John, chapter 14. Do not be disturbed. Distress your heart. Believe in God. In the house of my Father there are many homes. I'm going to prepare a place for you, and I will return and gather you up to me, so that where I am, you will also be. Hallelujah. What a beautiful word. What a beautiful word. The resurrection of Jesus Christ is the affirmation of the victory, you know, of life over the powers of evil and death. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 25, where are you, O death? Just think. Where is your victory and the death, with the power of sin? In verse 57, but grace be given to God, who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. And take hold of of that verse into your heart. I want you to meditate, to focus in on that, that verse. God that gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Praise the living God. The resurrection is the victory of the hope over fear, pain, and confusion. I want to repeat this again. Resurrection is the victory and hope over fear and over distrust. And in the book of Mark 16, verse 3, the women were filled with fear and hopeless. They were confused. Who will remove the stone from the entrance of the, the tomb? Is that the same question that we ask ourselves? Is that the same question that we are asking ourselves? Is this dilemma, this epidemic, going to change? Is it going to be resolved? Is my family issues going to be resolved? Is my health going to improve? Am I going to get better? These are the questions. Who is going to remove the stone of circumstances from our lives? And let me tell you something. Jesus Christ resurrected, from the dead, and the angel removed the stone, so that the woman may see that Christ has risen. In these situations that you're going through, God is going to take away the stone from your life. Let me tell you, and He knows, your limitations. He knows how far you can go. And God may be waiting for us to grow. He wants us to grow out of this. We're going to be stronger people. He knows that. That's what God is waiting, seeing that He's taking His time. But God knows when He's going to act and remove that stone. He wants to make you better. He wants to make you a stronger person, a better person, so that when tougher things in your life face you, you're able to overcome and you're able to confront them, mightily. And soon Christ is going to remove that stone. But Christ knows when. The time has not been perhaps fulfilled. It's not perhaps the time and the moment right now for it to be removed. But through this, we're going to be people who are docile, people who are easily managed by God, that God can work with us. We're easy to work with. God wants us to be easy to work with. And you're going to get out of that situation, out of that trial. You're going to come out of this trial that you have faced. You're going to be healed. And out of this, you're going to be giving glory and thanks to God. And I believe it that way. I don't know you do, but I believe it that way. And I said, Lord, I asked the Lord in my prayers, the Lord, when is this going to finish? When are you going to heal the land? When are you going to heal all this? And the Lord doesn't say anything. And when the Lord doesn't say anything, you just gotta, you gotta respect. And you gotta believe Him. You gotta trust in Him. And Job said, even though He may kill me, even though He may take my life or eradicate me from this world, then I know that He is going to resurrect me from the dust, right? And that's why I want to tell you this. Trust in God. Trust in Him. I want you to hear this. Because Christ has given us the victory in all of our circumstances. And do remembrance in the beautiful things. Remember the promises of God. Remember the yesterday, the God, what He has done for you in the past, in the present, what God has done for you. Remember the good things, the things that God has done. And God, He wants you to come to Him. He wants you to come to repentance. What God has promised you, He's going to do. The broken-hearted. Psalms 34. Resurrection teaches us that you and I do not have to live our lives alone. Resurrection teaches us that you and I do not have to face life alone. We're not alone. We don't have to live a life that is alone in loneliness. We don't have to live hopelessly. The resurrection of Jesus Christ gives us the hope, and I want you to hear this, that we can live free of fear to death because Christ resurrected and that Christ lives. And He is sitting down at the right hand of the Father. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 19 and 20 tells us, and the greatness of His power with us, and according to the operation of His power, which operates, resurrecting Him from the dead and setting Him at the right hand in the celestial places. Father God, bless your people, God, who has heard your word, that this word may fall into their hearts. There's resurrection in their hearts of your word. Those that have heard this message this morning, that person who is giving their heart to you this morning, receive them, Father God. Receive them as your beloved child, as your son, as your daughter, in the name of Jesus Christ. The person who has turned their backs on you, Lord, I know that you have your arms open for them, your loving arms. Thank you, Father God, for that conviction they have for you. I know you're doing a beautiful work in their life. Friends, I invite you to our church here, Independent Pentecostal Christian Church, IPCC Church, and 711 East 4th Street in West Liberty, Iowa. We are here with open arms. Look at Christ. When you come to church, you look at Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was the one who died for you. Don't look at it. You're not looking at no person, people. No, you're looking at Jesus Christ. He did it for you. He died for you. And I want to pray for you. I want to bless you. This morning, I want to tell you the Lord bless you and keep you. He let His face shine upon you and have mercy upon you. The Lord show His face before you. You will place the name of the Lord upon your children, and He's going to bless you. I bless you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. A hug, kisses to all of you. We will see you soon. God bless you.
Canto aleluya, yo canto aleluya, yo canto aleluya, el Cordero ya venció, yo canto aleluya, yo canto aleluya, yo canto aleluya. El Cordero ya venció. Yo canto aleluya. Yo canto aleluya. Yo canto aleluya. El Cordero ya venció. La tierra retumbó, la piedra él quitó, su amor perfecto siempre vencerá. El Rey resucitó, la muerte derrotó, ganando la victoria. Por siempre a Él la gloria es, por siempre a Él exaltado es, por siempre a Él tú eres digno, vivo está y vivo está. Por siempre a Él la gloria es, por siempre. exaltado es por siempre.